Just in case we didn't have enough Guinness rivals to go out, here are two more. Hello and welcome back to the channel, and yes, today we are once again looking at some rivals to the Black Stuff Guinness. These two I picked up a few weeks back pre-Oktoberfest when I was up in Scotland in a Marks and Spencer's of all places, and thought, well, it's been a little while since we've done a Guinness alternative review, not that long though, and these are two that not only have I not reviewed, I've not even tried, so yeah, time for a head-to-head. What are they, I hear you ask? Well, these are two offerings, as I said, from Marks and Spencer's. I assume nationwide, but certainly in Scotland. But that is not the only places you can get, well, one of them, and it certainly is the only place you can get the other. This one is a collab. It comes from Northern Monk and Timothy Taylor's, a Northern Rising product. I haven't had any of these Northern Rising products yet. I think most of them have been put into pubs and bars on tap and keg. This one though is canned, and it is a draft unity stout. Their whole thing as a collab is like, you know, unifying the North in beer. Is it a popular collaboration? I don't know, really. Comments below if you've had any of that stuff and your opinions on those two breweries, because I don't necessarily see them in my mind holding hands, other than the fact that they are both indeed from the north, but that's a bit of a generality really. It is a 4.4% stout, and in case there was any doubt, it doesn't even give pouring instructions a la Guinness style there. So yeah, it's another Guinness rival, because we've had a fair few of late. The other one is an M&S special because it is an M&S product, but they didn't make it. It's M&S's Nitro Stout, brewed in collaboration with Siren. I really like the design on this. I don't know if this was M&S's doing or Siren's. There you go, the little Siren logo there. Siren absolutely know their way around a Nitro Stout. Their Broken Dream Stout is basically an all-time supermarket great at this point. Again, Nitro Stout, but that's bigger, very chocolatey, very adjunct heavy. This is just a Nitro Stout, smooth and full-bodied, notes of coffee and cocoa. 4.6%. No pouring in. Oh, sorry. Tell a lie. There are pouring instructions there on this one, as you can see. Do it from great height. Maybe I have to stand on the table to pour this one. But look, they've done it upside down. But let's be honest. If we just carefully invert this, does that not look suspiciously like a pint of Guinness? I think so. Of course, we all know what's happening here. They are in black and gold cans for a reason. Okay, not that much gold on the M&S one, but the Siren logo is in gold. It's all harking back to the fact that Guinness right now is incredibly popular. House of Guinness has just released on Netflix. Great watch if you've not watched it yet. But for the last year or two, probably getting towards two now, Guinness has seen something of a resurgency. I, for one, am quite glad of it in a way, because I've made no secret of the fact I'm absolutely bored to the back teeth of IPAs, but Guinness alone isn't exactly the most exciting. I enjoy one as a very safe bet, but that's kind of it. I do like them, don't get me wrong, I'm not a hater by any means. I frequently order one, but when it gets to buying craft, more expensive, more discerned choices, they really are going to have to stand out a bit, because if it's just like Guinness or even a fraction better, ultimately they're not going to, well, just beat the original really, both on experience and price. So let's find out how they fare. Of course, in all Guinness taste tests, I'm going to be using Guinness glasses, even though it's not Guinness, but of course I don't have the appropriate glassware. Otherwise, these are the Guinness toucan glasses. I got sent these by Garage Bar. The people over at Garage Bar, this isn't a sponsored video, but if you want some cool glassware, go check them out. I did have a discount code. I don't know if it's still active. It'll be in the description, but as I say, not a sponsored segment, so that's all I'm going to say about it. But yes, good glasses. I'm going to pour both as quickly as I can, side by side. For you, it will be side by side, so we can try and analyse and see what comes off the best. I'm going to start with the Northern Monk Timmy T's collab because it's the weaker of the two, therefore we'll try it first, and that is that. So, editing skills at the ready. Flip the Guinness logo around so you can see the beer. Let's get into it. I think it's fair to say we couldn't have really had more different results. The Northern Monk Timothy Taylor's collab just went mad, foam everywhere. I couldn't get all the can in even in one pour. There's still a little bit in there now. Not what you expect out of a nitro beer. It normally kind of pours in pretty consistently and then you kind of get the nitro effervescencing. Not the right word, but you get what I mean. And it becomes nice and true in the end. The M&S one, I guess, did that more in a way, but it looked gross when it was being poured out, and it's only been sat for 45 seconds or so, and the head on it is looking a bit thin. Too thick, too thin, not a great start. But of course, that is just the visual, and I do need to get out of my head that this isn't Guinness. On a Guinness, you can almost tell how good it's going to be by the way it pours and the way the head sits and everything else, because that is kind of instrumental into the entire experience. Maybe not the case with these two. The Timothy Taylor's Northern Monk collab, that's getting a bit of a mouthful. I don't know what it's called, the Unity Stout. It looks pretty dark, is a little bit of a deep reddy brown hue in the bottom of the glass there, and then the M&S Siren collab, very similar in fact. Let's get a good old torch test on the go. To be fair to it, that Northern Monk one, not a lot of light bleed through whatsoever. Right at the bottom there, just a tiny bit. Meanwhile, yeah, that M&S Siren collab, a little lighter on the body. Not much in it, but worth knowing. Aroma test then, the Unity Stout. Quite vanilla, quite milky, quite very sweet coffee, really is where I'm going with it. It's got a bit of roast, but it's not massive. It's just sitting there, minding its own business. If you put this in front of me and said, oh, is this Guinness? In fairness to them, I don't know what my answer would be. I'd suspect my answer would probably be like, oh, is it the Guinness coffee cold brew thing they did a few years ago? Because it's slightly more reminiscent of that, slightly more coffee forward, but it's pretty close, I've got to say. And then aromas on the M&S Siren, bit more stouty, bit more raw, little bit more just toasted grainy. It's got some coffee notes, maybe a twang of licorice as well. It's just a bit more proper stout, if that makes sense. The Northern Monk Timothy Taylor's collab, the Unity Stout, there we go, has just a more focused, more Guinness-esque thing about it, whereas the M&S Siren collab, there's a lot of words going on here, isn't there, is much more traditional stout put into a nitro can, rather than being a distinct nitro stout from the outset, which is typically a little bit less flavourful. That's what I'm getting from the aroma. Anyway, let's get tasting. So, cheers. Bear with me. This doesn't look great. I don't think it's as bad as my expression is making it out to be, but it does have a few problems. First off, first sip of anything can be a little bit compromised from what I've eaten and drank earlier in the day, so on and so forth. So, second test, yeah, it's not as egregious as a first thought, but it is watery. It's really watery. It's thin, disappointing, and bleh, to be honest. The body on it is atrocious. There's no way around that. I don't know why two big names like Northern Monk and Timothy Taylor's, surely, if anyone from a vaguely craft basis could have got proper widget cans for this kind of thing, it would have been them, and it's not a widget can, neither of them are. This is just, yeah, thin, which again, it's a draft stout. They don't say nitro, specifically, but it does say, oh no, it does in the main description, a collaboration between two of the North's finest breweries resulting in a silky smooth Nitro Stout. I mean, silky smooth because, well, there's just nothing to it. It's the silk of a single thread of a spider. It's really, yeah, not all that decadent. It tastes nice, actually. I will give you a quick rundown of flavours. Little coffee bitterness, decent bit of kind of, not properly dark chocolate. It's not quite as sweet as milk chocolate, but you know those kind of higher cocoa milk chocolates that you get somewhere in that region, or should I say a slightly paler dark chocolate. You get the idea. It's got a bit of that. There's a bit of, what is that? It's not licorice. It's more like a dark berry tartness, and okay, nice bit of toasted malt sees it out, but yeah, it's not all that great. On to then the M&S Nitro collab. This one I'm worried about, and I was worried about from the pour, and they've got kind of a bit of a 50-50 reputation in terms of doing their own brand stuff. Some of it is fantastic. They always get proper big brewers or decently sized brewers to make it, and then slap their own label on it and theirs as well, just to let you know that, like, you know, they've not tried it on their own. They have got the professionals in, but it's always been a bit hit and miss as to whether it really works. So let's find out if they've done it with this. Cheers. Okay, now, damn it, I wanted to sit here and tell you, given what happened here, and this is not premeditated, given how genuinely bad I think that beer is, I was kind of expecting this to be either the same, maybe fractionally better, and just go, you know what, they're both not worth it, go buy a regular Guinness and leave it there. And it simply isn't the case. I'm not going to go as far as to say it's stunning. The pour was poor, the head's thin, but it is silky. It's richer, it's thicker, it's balanced, a little bit sweet, little bit, well, just easy going, roasty, toasty, lovely stout. And that really is what you want in your Guinness competitor. It's flecks of vanilla here and there, but the flavour of that, the texture maybe not quite as good as some Guinness. No, I'm going to take it back. The texture of the beer is better. The head, the foam, not as good. So make of that what you will. You can probably just go, you know what, we'll call it even, or even give the benefit of the doubt actually to this can, because the body ultimately is the majority of it. But flavour-wise, it's like having a really good Guinness. You know when you get the creamy one, the perfect pour, where there's no metallicness, the ironiness, the iron bit is just ceased to exist anymore. That's the only bit that's a little bit sharp, a little bit twangy in most cans and pints of Guinness. And this doesn't have it. It has everything else. Soft coffee, very soft. Soft chocolate, very soft. Everything's very soft, but the beer itself feels rich, feels full. And yeah, ultimately, that is kind of what's important. The reason I wanted, as I say a few moments ago, to turn around and say, you know what, don't bother with either of these, is because I had no real intention of pitching them against a real Guinness, which might sound mad, but ultimately I feel like I know Guinness well enough now to not have to do it until one gets close. And unfortunately, that is exactly where we're at. Let's get pouring, shall we? This is a regular draft can of Guinness, full 40ml can. Nothing quite beats the opening on a real can of Guinness compared to its competitor. It just doesn't. This is going to pour short, which I know makes people in the comments incredibly angry, but unfortunately 40ml cans in the UK compared to the large ones are just more available and generally a lot cheaper. So purposes of testing like this, yeah, I've got to go with it. The cascading effect you didn't get with the others. Alright, the head's a little bit foamy on top, but ultimately a proper can of Guinness does look better than either of them, hands down. But the big question is on flavour, because that M&S Siren collab was just there. You know when you're like, yes, this is what they set out to make. It was intentional and it was poised and it was precise. It did exactly what they did. When they first got these cans, they probably poured them out and like me looked at them and went, oh, it doesn't look great, does it? I hope we've not failed here. Took a sip and went, no, we haven't failed. On the other hand, that Northern Monk Timothy Taylor's collab feels like they went about trying to make a Guinness, tried it and just went, it'll do. And unfortunately, that is the impression you get, because if you were trying to enter that space, if you were trying to be genuinely competitive as a Nitro Stout, I don't think you'd have put that out there, if I'm totally honest. Unless I've got a duff can, feel free to tell me I'm wrong in the comments, but it feels like low effort. So anyway, the real Guinness, as I say, always looks the business. It just does, doesn't it? I mean, just hard to beat the visual of, but anyway, let's give it a go. Cheers. Here's an interesting thing. Never before in my life, and I think I even kind of referenced it earlier in this video, have I sat there and thought, this Guinness is very flavourful. I haven't. It's always just been a nice amount of flavour, a safe amount of flavour, just a middle of the road luxury almost. It's the delivery really is what gets you on Guinness. It's that thickness, it's that mouthfeel, it is the sensation. It's not so much the intricacies and the depth of flavour on the tongue. For me at least, that's how it comes across. Yeah, I've taken that one sip and gone, this has got loads of character, which now makes me even more worried, not only for the M&S one that previously to now we thought was brilliant, but massively so for that Northern Monk offering. So anyway, one more sip. I don't need to review Guinness, you know what Guinness tastes like, but yeah, it's feeling very chocolatey, very nice, very rich today. Let's compare that then to the M&S one. I've said it many times, something weird happens to your taste buds when you try and taste more than one thing at once, and by that I mean, going back and forth between these things. That M&S Stout now tastes more like I think I remember a Guinness tasting than the real Guinness. So much so I'm going to have to check that this is a normal Guinness. It definitely is. And it's only 4.1%. So, look. The beer itself, the base beer, the mouthfeel of that M&S one is still better by a long way. It's really rich, really thick. The head, as we discussed, obviously nowhere near as good, but that's only the initial, not the long-term feel. So it wins on that front. But why is that so good today? Do you reckon there's a Guinness World Record for having the best can of Guinness for a world record? If that makes any sense, because it is stunning. My mind's blown. How do I possibly try and articulate the fact that I'm having a can of Guinness that's probably been sat in that fridge for 3 months, not been particularly cared for, and it came off a supermarket shelf, and it might be one of the best tasting beers I've had in the last few months? That's a wild statement to say. All right, I'm not saying it beats the majority of the Oktoberfest beers, but you know what I mean. It is unnecessarily excellent right here, right now. So much so that I'm going to really struggle to find an argument for supporting a craft alternative out of these two instead of Guinness. Of course, I've got lots of other videos where I recommend various other ones, but that's not what stood in front of us, and this is a bit of a dilemma. It's ridiculous, honestly, absolutely ridiculous. Back to the Northern Monk one. It has more flavour. There'll be someone out there who particularly likes this because they just gel with it a lot, who's going to really be quite annoyed that I've cast it aside and say, "But how can you say that? It's got more flavour than Guinness." It has. There is more flavour. There is a richness in there. Not richness. That's not the truth, because I said it tastes like nothing. Richness is the wrong word. There's a note, there's a strength of one particular strain of whatever we want to call it. It's all getting lost at this point. But anyway, there is something in there that does stick itself out as you're drinking it to go, yes, I'm here, compared to the Guinness. But it's not a good flavour. It's not nice. It's just slightly burnt, if I'm honest. It's just a bit I like roasted malt, and that is what I'm getting. But I'm getting a short, sharp stab of it. Again, in comparison to the Guinness right now, what I said about it earlier, it's all comparative. but it's just not going to hold its own. Meanwhile, that M&S Stout is very nice. And if you're in a situation where you go, I just want to drink Guinness, but I would like a slight change of course, a slight change of flavour, a slight change of experience, it's very close. It's nearly as good. But it just doesn't quite make the mark. And look, I've said lots of beers in the past are way better than Guinness, but today I'm struggling. And this is the worst kind of video for me, because I want to say one of the alternatives, of course, is better. And the truth is, it just isn't. So we better leave it there, to be honest. Have you tried any of these? Obviously, normal Guinness, but have you tried the other two? How do you think? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. But yeah, that really is all I've got to say about it. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribe if you'll be so kind. And I'll catch you next time. Cheers.